Hi everyone, today I'm doing part 1 of the Q&A and this part is going to be about books and booktubing. There are around 40 questions to do in this video, so I'm kind of scared. I don't know how long it's going to be, but hopefully I'll be able to cut it down and there won't be any rambling once I've edited. So firstly, let's talk about booktubing stuff. So the first question is, how much do you think booktubing has changed you? I think booktubing has really changed me an awful lot. I've definitely gained a lot of confidence and I can definitely talk about things a lot more fluently and a lot more confidently. I also think that it's given me a lot of friends and I can talk about books to such a great variety of people as well. What's the best thing about booktubing? The best thing is the people, because I just think it's an amazing community. It's so convenient that there are so many book lovers in one place. It's just like so good. You would never get this anywhere else apart from YouTube. So how fantastic is that? The third question is, what made you start your book channel? And I have seen a lot of people talking about books on YouTube before, and then one of my friends started the channel and I thought it looked like so much fun. I just really needed to give it a go myself and I've not regretted anything about it. And another part to that question is, when did you start booktubing? And as some of you know, I had a channel before this which was deleted. I started that in May 2011 and then in February 2012 I deleted that and created this new account, which is so much better. I love this one so much more. I think it's been a lot more successful. I think I definitely know what I'm doing now and I kind of have an idea of what to say in every video. You know, over time I'm always improving. With every video I learn something new and I'm always excited to explore and try out new things. The next question is, do you plan or script your videos? And the answer is kind of. I don't really script them. I don't do anything word for word because I like to be quite natural about it, but I definitely plan videos out as much as possible. I think if you plan stuff out, it means ultimately when you get to editing, it's a lot easier because you don't have to cut things out as much. For example, I've got all the questions here with me right now and it's really easy just to look at them and answer them. Or if I was doing a book review, I'd have a few notes that I've maybe made on like Goodreads or something, just to really base what I'm saying around that. Now on to the general book stuff, which is of course going to be really fun. We love talking about books. Booktubing and talking about books is definitely so fun. So the first question for this set is the maximum number of books you could read in a month. I would say around 10. I read 10 books in July, but it's quite rare that I would do that, but you know, I can do it, so that is probably the maximum. But in general, I only really read around 4 or 5, sometimes only 3. It really depends how busy I am. A book you wish you wrote would be The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, because it's so popular right now and it has been for a while now after the film. The ideas are so intricate, I really love it. I just think the success from that, anyone would love to have wrote that series. You know, Suzanne Collins is a legend. The next question is the longest book you've read, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's either Iona by Alison Goodman or Skullduggery Pleasant Deathbringer by Derek Landy. I think they're both like 600 pages. I think they're the longest ones. That's what Goodreads highlighted anyway. What's your all-time favourite book? I would probably say The Hunger Games book 1. I think that book had everything I would ever want in a book. It had action, intensity, drama, it had emotional sides, it had innocence from the characters, such a great variety of things happening in there. The pacing was really good. I just think the book was perfect and I love rereading it because it's so good. I'm really sorry that I have to mention The Hunger Games so much, but you know, that is what you're getting from my book channel. I'm not going to stop. Who's your all-time favourite character? And Katniss Everdeen, because, you know, she's amazing. I absolutely love her. How she thinks about things, I love her emotions, and I think the way she's portrayed in both the book and the movie is absolutely fabulous. Who's your all-time favourite author? This would probably be Erin Hunter. I think that she really got me into reading because of the Warriors series, and it's actually a pseudonym of 5 people, actually probably 6 now, because I think another joined to also join into like the Survivors series, which is the one about dogs. Of course, Warriors is about cats, and I love it. I think, you know, it definitely got me back into reading, and I thank Erin Hunter for that. Are you looking forward to watching City of Bones and Catching Fire? Yes, I am. I am very excited for City of Bones. I'm going to probably see it on Wednesday. And Catching Fire, well, how would I not be excited about it? It's going to be so good. So much more money has been spent on that film and I think it's going to be even better than the first one. I'm really kind of can't wait for that film. I need it right now. Please, someone just give it to me, please. I need the film. Do you prefer classic stories or more modern ones? I would say more modern stories, actually. I do like classic books. I think sometimes very interesting, but in general I think the modern books are more relatable, and I think they're easier to read and a lot more enjoyable compared to classics which sometimes just don't have that same level of enjoyment for me. Do you like reading diverse books from other genres, or do you just normally stick to one genre? I would try and be diverse. I read a lot of YA books, but there are many subgenres within that, and you could be horror, romance, dystopian, science fiction. There is such a great variety of things in there. That is why I love it, because I can read different genres, but also in the same kind of big genre or type of book. Do you read more than one book at a time, or just one on its own? I always read one on its own. If I read any more than that, I get confused. I start merging all the books together that I'm reading and create a brand new world with a whole other story which is totally non-existent. So it's quite disastrous if I read more than one at once. Do you highlight your books for quotes that you find beautiful or interesting? If I find a quote that I find very interesting, I will normally type it out onto my laptop, because I'll keep it on there, or sometimes I'll tweet about it, but I don't really try to write in the books or highlight them. It just doesn't feel right to me. I hate writing in books. If I had to, I would have a sticky note and stick it on the side and sort of annotate it from there, but I don't really like writing inside the actual book. I just don't like the idea of that. Have you bought books simply because of the cover? The answer is kind of. If I'm randomly browsing books in a bookstore and I see a cover that really stands out, I will always look at it, and if the synopsis is good, which normally is the case, I will then buy it. Is there any book that you weren't expecting to like but absolutely loved? Now, I actually kind of feel stupid for this, but I would say Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. When I started to read that series, or before reading, I didn't expect to really like it as much, but then the characters were so good, the plot was so intense and fast-paced, and I fallen in love with that series, so I never know why I came up with that in the first place, Why didn't I think I would like it? I really don't know. Are there any authors that you haven't read but really want to? I don't think so, really. I mean, there are books on my shelf that I've not read by particular authors, but in general, there's none that really stand out. How many books do you own? I would say approximately 350 books if I count my non-fiction and my fiction all put together. That's quite a lot for non-readers, but I think for some avid readers, they'll have way more than me, so I need to keep increasing my book collection every day. What are your top 3 favourite movies of all time? I would say the first one is The Hunger Games, because of reasons. I also really like Hachiko, A Dog's Tale, and then for the third one I'm not actually too sure. I don't know, I haven't seen anything for ages. I'll have to report back. City of Bones could be on there, but I haven't seen it yet, so you'll have to wait and find out. What is your favourite book to movie adaptation? That would be The Hunger Games, because obviously that would be the answer, wouldn't it, from me? At the moment I'm getting really annoyed by a lot of people, for example movie critics, because they really don't like YA book to movie adaptations for some reason and give them very low ratings. I know The Hunger Games got very low ratings, and City of Bones has as well. It seems that they just don't like YA stuff, and it really drives me crazy, because YA films are so entertaining. Like The Hunger Games, there's acting that's fabulous. It's fantastic acting, really, and sometimes films don't even win awards because they're YA, and I just think that's so annoying. There should be way more awards awarded for The Hunger Games, because it is so good. It's up there with the best films ever. I just don't like it when they sort of put YA films aside because maybe they haven't read the book. I think that sometimes if you've read the book, it's a lot more effective when you're watching the film. You understand all the points and everything. Of course, films are made to make money. Sometimes they can't get everything in from the book, but definitely if you read the book, it just gives you them little extra things that you might want to know. What's the Latin or American author that you want to read or have heard of? I'm not sure, actually. I don't really know. I've probably got one on my shelf that I don't know about, but there's none that really come to my mind. What's your favourite childhood book? I would select The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I love that book. It was really, really good, and I've got like a bind-up of them all in one. Favourite series would be the Warriors series by Erin Hunter. I absolutely love it, and it really got me into reading. Top 3 favourite genres other than YA. For this, I'm going to select dystopian, fantasy, and science fiction. I just love them. I know they're quite similar, but they are kind of technically different genres. Erin Hunter or J.K. Rowling? The answer is Erin Hunter. I much prefer Erin Hunter, although I absolutely love the Harry Potter series. As I said before, I really thank Erin Hunter for getting me back into reading, because I just read so much more after reading the Warriors series, so I'm very thankful. What are your top 3 standalone books? The first one is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, because of course it's a fantastic book and so sad as well. It tore me apart. I would probably also select The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I think that book is fantastic. And for the last one, I'm not too sure either. Life of Pi by Jan Martel. Maybe also The Sight by David Clement Davies. I can't really tell which one is better. The next one is what's the best book you've read so far this year? And I have to say I've read a lot of really good books. I'm not too sure which is the best. I really liked Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. I also really loved The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. But to be honest, there are so many books that I've read this year that I've absolutely loved. I've had a really good reading year so far, and you know, there's going to be definitely more out there that I'm going to absolutely adore as well. If you had to be any character for one day, who would you be and why? For this one, I'm going to select Harry Potter. I think he has a very interesting life. I think what he goes through is really cool, all the magic and everything. It would be great to experience that, and to be in the world of Hogwarts as well would be definitely very mesmerising. It's totally unique, you know, you will have never seen anything like that before. I think he's just such an interesting character. Where did you get the bookshelf behind you? I don't actually know. I'm not sure because my dad gave me this bookshelf. It was from his work, and he gave me this because he didn't need it anymore. It was basically when I had loads of books that I needed to find a shelf for, he just gave it to me. So that's great because I've used it a lot and I absolutely love it. It's very sturdy because of these like metal bars at the side, and they kind of like hold the books up well, because obviously I've got a lot of books piled up behind me at any side all over the place. So I really need a sturdy bookshelf, and I'm thankful for this. If you could pick one book or one series to read again for the first time, what would it be and why? For this one, I'm going to say The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, because that book is so emotional, and I think to read that again from a brand new first perspective would be so good. I really do want to experience it again because that book was so special and so amazing. Who is your favourite Harry Potter character? This would be Harry Potter himself. As I said before, he's a very good character. I absolutely love his personality and what he has to go through. I love the way he thinks about everything. What was the first series of books that you got into? As I've mentioned a few times already, that will be the Warriors series by Erin Hunter. The penultimate question in this video is, have you read the Percy Jackson series? And I've read the first one. I've read book 1. And I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to continue on with that series whenever I can. And finally, what's the worst book you've ever read? This one will have to go to Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. I'm sorry, I just didn't like that book. I really didn't like it. I know some people like it, I can kind of understand why, but for me it didn't do anything. I kind of found it a bit boring, really. I just didn't gain anything from it. It just was kind of weird and not my thing, I'm sorry. So that's it for part 1 of the Q&A. If you're wondering when part 2 will be coming out, I'm not too sure myself, but probably within the next few weeks. I don't want to do 2 Q&As right after each other because I kind of like to keep it varied as much as possible. But I will definitely get to part 2 as soon as I can. So I hope you enjoyed this and hope your questions were answered. If they're not, there will be in part 2. And I will see you then. So thanks everyone for watching and see you all later.